question.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. This is not a rerun. We are live on air tonight. What is tonight? It is December 6th, 2018, and we are back live on the air. This is Reasonable Doubt, brought to you by the Harris County Criminal Lawyers Association. I'm your host, Jimmy Ardwan. My co-host, Julio Vela, back in the seat. You look a little worn out from all the Christmas parties.
Too many, man. You know what? You know what happened?
I'm a little worn out from the Christmas parties and all the UT football I've been watching.
Let me tell you what happened. November 6th, everyone's quiet. No one knows what's going to happen. Little did we know in the next...
Yeah, because we haven't been on the air since the election.
Dude, a lot's happened.
And a lot has happened.
But it wasn't quiet, though.
Dude, you can't talk till we introduce you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Gosh, you know your role.
There were
I guess we got to introduce him now.
Mr.
The first guest post-election that we have on the show is going to be our unruly future Harris County Criminal Court at Law Number 7 Judge, Andrew A. Wright.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for
I'll
having me.
formally welcome you to the program.
Thank you for having me, even though I violated protocol.
You did violate protocol.
I'm already
What do you think, just because you're being a judge, you interrupt me now?
Already trying to overstep my bounds, I guess. First shot at it.
How awesome, 3 Longhorns.
Yes. I want to mention, my producer wanted me to let y'all know, we've run a series of shows here. We had candidate shows going both earlier in the year and now we had it right before the election. If there's any other topics that you as the viewer want us to cover, I know we've got a lot of interesting stuff that's going on out there with the office, with the courts, with the jail. If there's topics you want to see covered on this show, guests you want to see come on this show, send us a message on our Facebook page, hit us up on Twitter at HCCLA_TV. Call into the show, tell us. You got numbers right there on the bottom of the screen, 713-807-1794. I'm going to suggest that we, since we have 3 Longhorns, that we just extend the Longhorn Network out to public access.
Can we get some of that $20 million a year?
I mean, we have more than $20 million of
You've got like 2 more weeks to be able to take it.
Yeah, you guys, I will say you guys have upgraded the table since the last time I was here, so clearly maybe some of the Longhorn Network money is coming along.
So wait, I looked back because I wanted to know, it's been almost a year because it was January that you were last on the show.
It doesn't feel like that long, but I mean, your recollection is probably better than mine.
You've cleaned up your act.
Yeah.
Since then too.
Yeah, you make a promise to your wife to get a haircut and you do that.
Well, I feel somewhat responsible for this because I think we have the pictures available, but I
hope
I did some artwork kind of harassing you online. But we're gonna get it loaded up. We're gonna harass.
Cue it up.
We're gonna harass Andrew here in a little bit, but I feel somewhat responsible for that for the hazing that I did online.
No, so
I hope that doesn't come back to haunt me in about 30 days.
It went viral.
So here's the deal. So the deal is, even before the primary, probably about the time I was on the show, it was probably about a year ago.
Yeah, so it was leading up to the primary.
Yeah.
You were one of the candidates that came on in our run of the primaries where we had, the candidates who were running for both the Democratic and the Republican nominations, and you came on as part of that.
And I had promised my wife I'd get a haircut, and then primary happened, and the first thing out of her mouth was, "Did you get a hair or schedule a haircut?" And I did not, because I had met a lot of people at that point, and if I get a haircut, people might not know who I was. So I told her I'd get a haircut right after the election. So election happens November 6th when it wasn't quiet. Some of us were out there working, but so then she comes home Wednesday after work. She's like, "Did you make an appointment?" "No, honey, I didn't." "Are you going to?" So then she comes
thinking
home,
about it.
Yeah, she comes home Thursday and she's like, "You have an appointment with Norma next week at 5 p.m. on a Wednesday. You will be there." And I was there.
All right, Judge Wright was doing the tuck.
Yeah. The goatee probably needed to be cleaned up anyways. The hair was being grown out to donate. That was done the next day after the haircut. So I went to a good cause. The goatee was probably a little too long, but don't tell my wife. We're not recording, right?
No.
Okay, good.
Not at all.
It's just streaming all over the world.
It won't be posted to the internet tomorrow at some
It's
point.
going to be a
Let
problem.
me ask you though, how did that Judge Wright? Hey, get right.
I am not a judge yet, so it still feels weird. Plus, I'm also
There's still a chance they could take it away.
Yeah, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, technically, but You know, it already is kind of crazy because a friend of mine that's was a judge in Fort Bend County. You know Bud Childers? Did
Of
you ever-
course,
Okay.
of course.
So Bud told me, he's like, you're going to lose your first name and you're going to lose friends. And I'm like, not going to lose my friends. And he's like, your pool of friends will shrink because that's just what happens. And he said, you will lose your first name. Everybody will call you by Judge. So for the record, my name's Andrew, not Judge.
Andrew.
You see me on the street, just go by Andrew.
You know what, Andrew, bro? You've changed, man.
Yeah, I have
You've
not.
changed, man.
We've known each other since college, not really.
So, dude, so we're at like 2 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
Him and I at UT, same time. We're partying with the same groups, probably drank from
Probably at the same
the same keg.
social establishment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you changed,
Oh,
bro.
come on.
You
Yeah.
changed, dude.
Probably from
You
the same
changed.
keg.
You
right?
guys were drinking virgin margaritas. There's no doubt about it.
I was not. I was drinking, what's that vodka in the plastic bottle?
Skull.
Skull.
Tonka. Any of those?
Skull.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Where did you live?
Multiple places. I never stayed in one place too long.
I was T-Square, 40th and Speedway.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's because he's running from somebody. Is that what that? That's why he's got
goes.
the beard now.
That's right.
I mean, look at this luscious.
Well, this
beautiful
is
beard.
because I got offered a spot in The Rock's new movie role. So
I heard he won it in poker.
won what in poker?
The beard.
Well, look, dude, I couldn't have won this in poker. This takes time.
So good, man.
takes
It's so-
time.
Such a good beard.
It takes time.
What do the kids think?
I think they like it.
All right.
I think they like it. Yeah. Yeah.
You could do one.
You've been kind of working out too.
I mean, dude, I told you, I got a role in The Rock's new movie. I got to keep up with it.
Look at the guy.
So how you feel? How you feel about, I mean, look, we had a complete sweep.
We did.
I mean, that's kind of the big story here is the Democrats took the county by 100,000 votes.
Yeah, I want to say.
And even took the county judge position.
Right.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
So, you know, you guys basically, the Democrats, I don't want to lump you into, you know, the all-encompassing y'all.
It's the parties.
Yeah, the party now controls the county and has complete control over the county courts at law
Yes, sir.
and the district courts.
And the county civil courts,
Yeah.
probate courts. I think we also gained majority in the 1st and 14th, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken. November 6th was a good day for us, and we're hoping to make a lot more, and hopefully we're going to make Harris County proud and make sure they made the right decision.
And well, I mean, you're the one here in front of us, so
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm going to ask you the tough questions.
Yes,
But you know, what does it really mean? How? And I don't mean to be a cynic, but there will be some people out there that say, and to some degree, I'm kind of a little bit of a, you know, let's be cautious and wait and see what actually happens kind
Right.
of thing, because you know, everybody talked about change and, you know, settling the bail lawsuit. We need to move forward. We need to implement change. And we need to do this. And the Democrats are going to be the momentum for change. But, you know, we still have the DOJ investigating the jail.
Right.
We still haven't solved the bail issue. I mean, even if you settled the lawsuit, we still got the problem of people are waiting in jail 3 days to get hearings.
Still got to make it play out the right way. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So, I mean, what do you see as someone who's going to be coming in and trying to effectuate change? I mean, what do you really think can happen short term, long term? What are some of your goals individually and some that y'all have discussed as a group?
So
heading into this?
some of the stuff we can do. I mean, like some of these things are bigger issues. It's kind of
Right.
like trying to turn an oil tanker, right? I mean, if Harris County is this oil tanker, getting to change its position on things like how we process in and process out defendants, things like that. That's not always the easiest thing. But I will tell you that there have been discussions, and I think we're not just myself, but other stakeholders in this situation are looking at possibly non-jail situations. I know I personally have been reading up a little bit on the way Austin does cite and release on some misdemeanors. I think that would be something that maybe we can utilize if we can do it right. There's some mechanical issues that happen with the way that Austin does that, but I think that would be absent what we do on bail and the bail lawsuit. I think that could be something that we could hopefully try to keep people from going to jail on non-violent, low-level misdemeanors. I'm
Yeah.
not saying every misdemeanor. I'm
Sure.
sure, you heard a lot during the election that, the Democrats were just wanting to open the jail doors. That's not what we're trying to do. But what we are trying, I will say, me, myself, and I think the group as a bigger whole, is trying to reduce jail populations on things like, I don't know, like shoplifting or something like that when you don't have priors, okay?
You talked about a group. You talked about there's a group. So have you seen alliances being formed? Y'all are coming in as a blue wave.
So
Are y'all on the same page?
Okay, so look, you're dealing with 16 criminal county court at law judges. We're all the, I'm technically not one yet, right? I've got, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
but we will all shortly be named defendants in a lawsuit, okay? And of course, Judge Jordan, who's already been there, has been one since he got in office, January of 2017. We have had meetings. That is a very high priority, is to work through the mechanics of getting that thing resolved. I think that it is not only in us as the judges, but Harris County and the taxpayers' interest to try to find a way to resolve that. Look, I will tell you, I have not read all the pleadings in there. I mean, just the injunction order that Judge Rosenthal entered was 193 pages.
I mean, what have you been doing?
on. So I've been
I
trying
mean, I've seen a lot of stuff where you've been,
I've been going to meetings.
Meetings at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium.
I've been taking those
102
meetings.
other thousand people.
I've been taking those meetings up. But look,
I know.
So
I mean, realistically, it's
what's terrifying as far as going from being a defense attorney
Yeah.
to becoming a judge is obviously we all know I can't practice law anymore.
Yeah.
So I am taking something that I've built since.
Jeez,
I've had my license 11 years, but I was on my own since the beginning, roughly, of 2009.
and that's going to be tough.
For 9 years, I've built a practice, try to dismantle it in a month.
Right.
It's like eating an elephant. You can do it, but you got to take one bite at a time. And every day I'm trying to see what I can get resolved so my clients aren't left there hanging out. But there are some cases that, frankly, I just can't. I had a pretty serious case in Fort Bend County that had, I think, about 15,000 pages of discovery, and I felt really bad going to the court and saying, look, there's no way. There's no way I can do anything with this case. It's involving children. It's bad. And had to get off that case. So then part of my time after that is trying to at least get the new lawyer up to speed, because would you like it if somebody just dropped that in your lap? Obviously not. And I don't want, even though I'm going to become a judge, I don't want my clients that I've been servicing for a while and have duties to, for the balls to be dropped on their cases just because I happen to get elected in Harris County.
So who's helping you out? Are there people? I mean, because look, there's a lot of outgoing judges and people who are
Right.
winding down their practices.
So
who's help? I mean, where you?
I've
who's helping you guys out?
got some good friends that I've talked to that are going to take over most of my cases.
I know
As
the
it-
defense bar is reaching out to you.
As it relates to the appointed cases, I mean that's not my function, right? Like I can't say, "Hey, judge, I was appointed. I went off this
Well, just
case and
from
I want it sent to JV." But I
The
absolutely
defense community.
Oh, no. There's been no issue there. But I mean, if I'm appointed, the issue that's been driving me crazy is sometimes I'll file a motion to withdraw and I'll get that signed, but then the client's not getting a new lawyer appointed right away. So then the client's just kind of hanging out there. So I've sent more than a couple emails to different coordinators over the past few weeks like, hey, I appreciate you guys signing my motion, but this guy needs a lawyer, this lady needs a lawyer, because then they're going to show up to the next court date. It's just going to be that much more lead time, and these people have lives that are sometimes held up by what's going on. So that's what's been taking up the bulk of my time. Obviously, I have to find what I'm going to do with my office space and just the mechanical stuff to get out of, practice of 10 years. I don't even talk about my furniture, I've got a big old TV in my office that I got to find. If anybody needs a TV,
I could use a TV.
All right, we can talk. I just got to get.
I already called it, bro. I called it. I called shotgun on the
I
TV.
got a bunch of stuff that I just got to get rid of. I got to find out.
Let's talk about courtroom decor, man.
Yeah.
You gonna do something on your courtroom? You're gonna put some paintings up, maybe Lady Justice on the side.
I don't think I'm going to do anything in the particular courtroom we're in right now because it's temporary, right? Hopefully, and that's another
Yeah.
conversation we've had.
Right.
We can get back in the CJC or wherever we're going to be, because I know some people want it to be moved all together. But until I have a permanent home, at
No
least
sense
my
in
own
really
space.
decorating a whole bunch.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Like I thought, oh, I can get all this stuff in my current office and put it in my chambers. Well, no, because if the courthouse finally gets fixed in a year and a half, well, then I got
Move
to
it.
move it all again. But
You're a judge. Don't you do like that, and then people like carry your stuff away?
I think you know me better than that I'll probably do most of it
no,
myself.
bro, you're too old for
there's
that. You
always
don't
the
hurt your
chance that
back
stuff's
or
gonna get
anything.
broken.
Yeah, well, you don't want to hurt. I would say you don't want to hurt anything.
I don't want some of my taxidermy ruffled by anybody, I guess.
There's
Yeah.
competent people out there in the courtroom.
You know, you were talking about kind of the blue wave that came in,
Right.
how to get the 16 different county court judges. I mean, that seems to be now the difficult part, right? Because
Yeah.
before you had a bunch of judges who had been working together for 20 years.
Right.
Who knew each other, who kind of, had worked, a lot of them had worked together before at the
Right.
DA's office
Right.
and through private practice and everything. And obviously y'all know each other in through private practice.
Right.
Most of y'all anyway. I mean, there's a couple people that maybe you haven't had as much interaction with in the
Correct.
private sector, but that you've never worked with those people. You've never tried to hammer out issues. And for as much as being part of the same party may lend itself to some, I guess, shared, platforms, doesn't necessarily mean y'all all have the same beliefs, because, I mean, even within the Democratic Party, there's a right-wing spectrum and a left-wing spectrum and a middle kind of centrist spectrum. So how do you view taking on those challenges to try and bring everybody together?
So it's dealing with 16 people. Well, I guess I'd be dealing with 15, right? I'm one of 16.
Yeah.
Only
Unless you have a split personality
No.
and have to deal with yourself.
Have you seen that movie?
No.
I
Was
haven't
it
either.
good?
I haven't either.
Well,
no.
why'd you bring it up?
Because it's too crazy.
All right. Well, listen. So only one of us has been a judge before. And that's, of course, Judge Jordan, who's currently on the bench, and he's been there, I think, 2 years this January, right? So
Yeah.
it's a different cycle than us. None of us have been a judge before. So I think there's going to be, to some degree, a learning curve, and even past the learning curve of how we're all to be judges, of dealing with each other. I mean, there are things that in each courtroom we are kind of, our own little island, but at the same time, we're part of a bigger structure. If we really want to get things done and we really want to affect some of the change that I hope we all want to, then as much as I can be my own island, we still need to move this group of islands in a different direction.
Have you seen any leaders emerge?
There are some.
What do you think? I mean, do they look to Judge Jordan as a leader? I kind of do.
I think Judge Jordan's going to be huge in us figuring out where it is. I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a self-motivated leader. I mean, he's in the military. I think that he will be a great resource for us. And then past him, I'm sure other leaders will emerge. I mean, some of us are more outspoken. Some of us are.
I'm gonna put you in the outspoken group.
Yeah, that's probably.
Who's their crew, bro?
That's probably.
Who do we need to know? Court's what?
Look,
Court 7.
You need to know all the courts, okay?
Well, of course,
you're
but-
going to be practicing in front
But
of. all.
let's tell the public who they are.
But I can't really go there if that's going to be.
Well,
some
okay,
kind
let
of
me ask you this.
endorsement.
No, well,
Okay.
then let me ask you this. So there are at least 2 or 3 judges that I think a few of us had never seen, and then the rest of them, the vast majority, had been very experienced attorneys, reputable. I think it was a solid group.
There are some that we have not seen as much.
That does not mean that
Right.
does not mean anything other than what it is. I hear that they won the election, and we have faith in them, in us.
I mean, look, the reality of it is, you see me all the time. Who knows? I might get up there and,
Well, we
do
know all. That's what I'm saying.
Do something crazy that we're not expecting. I don't think that's going to happen, and I hope that that nowhere comes there. But just because we might not see somebody doesn't mean they're not going to be successful. Or
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So, you and I,
Right.
and all of us, have had conversations in the hallway.
Right.
Have had conversations in the back. Have had conversations in the witness room. This is bull. Somebody should run and do this.
Which is part of why I'm here. Yeah.
All of us have done it for years and years and years. Right. And now some of those conversations that we had are being had in chambers. Who's leading, man? God, those conversations must be amazing.
I cannot kiss and tell.
God,
I'm
man.
gonna have to leave you hanging
Hook
on
'em,
that.
hook 'em.
I'm gonna have
Hook
to
'em.
leave you hanging on that.
Hook 'em. I swear to God, though, bro, that's so great.
I'm definitely not telling JV right here on the air with. I thought we weren't recording, right?
It's off the air.
So at the end of the day, we're gonna have a presiding judge. That person will, I guess, in some sense, be our spokesperson. Okay.
Who's senior? Judge Jordan?
Yeah. So
Did y'all have to draw? Because everyone else is equal.
So those things are okay. So
Everyone else is equal other than Jordan.
Those decisions are made in elections, and we're all equal. Okay.
Well,
but
Judge Jordan has a little more seniority.
he has more seniority than all of us. That is correct. I mean, he's been a judge before, and we have not. Yes.
Well, okay.
But
do y'all draw straws? I heard that's how they did it in the district courts, that they had to, because all of them were new, they had to,
they're not all new.
except for Powell, Jackson,
Johnson.
Roll.
Hazel Jones.
But
Jones.
what I'm telling you is
But
they
there's
all
a-
go. They all
No,
go
they
in
had
a pot.
the rest of them. They had to like pick out a little
No,
paper
you
and
would
open
pick.
their.
Look, so I don't know how the district courts are done as far as their governance, but ours is we pick a presiding judge and a co-presiding judge, and then the co-presiding judge and the presiding judge, they do have, I guess, more administrative stuff necessarily to deal with, but I will tell you that there are massive efforts to make sure that while we might have those leadership roles, everybody's voice is heard. And I will tell you in all these meetings we've had, that is very,
How
very
many meetings
present.
have y'all had?
Probably about once a week.
Really?
Yeah, we're trying. Look, so we want to, I guess you use the rocket slogan, run as one. We're trying to make sure that while we might have our own islands to say, that we're still running as one, and that at least some of the things that we would like to accomplish as far as the criminal justice reform that might happen in Harris County over the next 4, 10, who knows how long, that we can actually achieve. Like, nobody wants us to be stagnant. I think the voters of Harris County, if they wanted the same status quo, they would have just continued to elect incumbents, okay? So we have to satisfy those voters to some degree within our ethics and within our guidelines that we can do.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that because, we talked a lot leading up to the election with even the candidates like for, Chris Morton, and when we had Brad Hart on, we had Josh Hill and Kristen Guinea on. I mean,
Right.
Both sides of that coin were a great choice either way. And all of them knew that it really wasn't going to be about them.
Right.
In terms of what happened in the election. And so, and I'm not saying, I don't mean this to come off wrong, but I mean, it's not like anything you specifically did got you elected. I mean.
That's probably fair.
You ran, we all knew you, but I mean.
Right. The 600 some odd thousand people that voted for me.
Y'all killed
Yeah.
it. The Dems came in and killed it.
You guys got together. What I will say is this. While you guys individually on the down ballot may not have won your seat per se because of what you did or how you went out and made a speech, what happened was, for the first time in a long time, the Democratic Party put viable candidates up who came together and actually marshaled support in the community and made an effort as a group,
Correct.
not as individuals, to get the message out as to what was going on. And so, but I do wonder is, although I think what was happening with Beto and Ted Cruz was really the big driver of what was happening election-wise, because you had, for the first time, you had something in a non-presidential year
Right.
that people were really motivated to get out and vote for. And I think that really helped y'all in the down ballot vote to do this. Plus, you could argue straight ticket voting. But I wonder, is there any sense that, okay, yeah, maybe we individually, didn't necessarily go out and do this, but we collectively did this, but individually some of us could really damage what we've done if we don't do things the right way, if we don't have a plan, if we don't follow through on our campaign platform, if we become the hypocrites, or one of us individually, breaks from the group and becomes a hypocrite. Is there any sense of worry about that amongst y'all?
I mean, I think that to not have at least something like that in the back of your head would be insanity.
Yeah.
Look, any one of us could pull something that might hurt our brand, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
I don't think the 16 people that we have are going to do that. I'm pretty confident with the larger slate of Democrats that we had, as far as I think most of those people are going to succeed in their position. But
Yeah.
look, every now and then, and for the past, I've been practicing in the criminal court since 2009. Every now and then there's been something that a judge has done which has hit the newspaper, has hit HCCLA's spectrum. There's been stuff since after the election that has.
Sure.
That there's been write-ups after the election in some of the other courts about some of the stuff that's happened post-election. So, yeah, I mean, the right set of circumstances happens, something like that could happen. I don't see that happening with our group, but to sit here and say it will never happen, it would just be Pollyanna and pie in the sky. I think the people we have are smart, educated, and driven, and I think we're going to make Harris County proud. But yeah, I mean, there's some of that.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder from a, look, when the county was solid Republican, I mean, you had a situation where what happened with Chuck Rosenthal as DA,
Right.
it didn't affect the voting at all. I mean, that was a horrible situation.
It's so terrible.
And yet it didn't affect anything at all. And I don't know. I mean, for instance, like I said at the outset of the show, we still have the DOJ coming in and investigating the jail. I mean, if stuff like that doesn't change, how do voters respond? I mean, if and I don't know. I mean, I'm just not sure what it is. But what I do know is this: we have far more qualified candidates. I mean, in some years past, the Democrats just didn't run qualified candidates. I mean, bottom line. And people like yourself, like Chris Morton, like Josh Hill, like all of you. I mean, the majority of the candidates, and almost all the candidates that I can think of right off the top of my head, are qualified candidates. We don't have people that were just running for the sake of having their name on an election ballot.
Right.
That actually wanted to make change. So
the reality of any of that is we still have those issues at the jail. We still have those issues in some of our courts. But I think even if we had Democrats for 8, 10, 20 years, we can always, as a community, as a county, strive to do better.
Let me ask you then.
It's never going to change.
Okay, so how are you going to affect change? Judges have a budget. I don't know how this budget is provided. I've had my vouchers challenged. Okay, and been taken into chambers. So let me ask you.
I have too.
So, okay, under the judges, jails are too crowded. So you got to figure out how to get people out, and or not out, constitutionally protected while they're accused of a crime. All right. Right now they have heavy weight on the PSA. Get the PSA. Have them print the PSA and go set the bond. Get the PSA, go set the bond.
Arnold Foundation safety assessment. Okay.
Do the judges have control over that, or some say over that, or how much discretion do they have to follow that, or can they just do it?
So, I mean, on some sense, we can do what we feel is right. Okay. I think things like the PSA, the risk-based assessment factors and things like that are tools that a judge can use to help decide what the right bond is and in what terms, because you can have a surety bond, you can have a PR bond, or for a period of time, and from what I understand from the bail lawsuit we were having, what they called the sheriff's unsecured bonds.
Yeah,
right?
you know what
Right.
Judge Stanley called them?
SOB bonds.
SOB bonds.
Yeah.
Hey, God bless you, Judge Stanley. You're retiring. He's had a surgery, and that's why he was gone.
I hope he's
and
doing
he's having. I don't mean to air all stuff.
But
God bless you, man. Yeah, I know.
But you are.
Hey, we're waiting for you, man.
I wanted to ask you about this issue because it came out today, and Julio brought it up just a bit ago. Didn't follow through on it, but so I will gladly take the mantle and do so. But he talked about one of the issues being court-appointed lawyers and pay for court-appointed lawyers, and the district judges today submitted a voucher pay raise to the county commissioners. Do you think that's coming from the county courts?
I can tell you that we are cognizant that I don't think appointed lawyers have had an increase in pay in about 10 years.
Yeah.
The judges have, and I can tell you that that's something that's being paid attention to. And I haven't seen
Right.
the felony voucher. I was told about it, I think, on the HCCLA listserv. There's this crazy nuance when somebody
You don't
adds
get to
an
be a part of it anymore.
well,
A
yeah.
presumptive max of 12 hours on a first-degree felony?
But look, when somebody sends something on that listserv, hitting the attachment is a whole nother shenanigan.
Yeah.
So I didn't
Yeah.
get the attachment, but I don't know what the specifics of
They're
it
saying
are.
they're going to pay as a presumptive max of 12 hours,
Well-
out-of-court hours, for a first-degree felony.
So what I am quickly,
It's 20? Okay, it's 20 on a first-degree felony.
what I am quickly learning in the month or so it's been a month that I've been in this position, that there are processes for all these things, and it's my understanding that with the district courts, that then goes to commissioner's court on the 18th agenda. Hopefully that gets passed.
Oh, let me just call my girl Linda. Or what's her name? What's the county
Lena.
judge? Linda? Lena?
Lena,
You
she
might wanna
won't
get-
be
Yeah, I'm
there.
going to call Lena.
She,
You might,
hold on.
you might want to get the
For the
name right,
record,
dude.
she won't be there.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
man.
last county commissioners court meeting is next.
So it's going to depend
It's
on
what? Not next week, but the following.
It's
week.
the 18th.
Yeah.
It's the last third Tuesday or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on if Commissioner's Court approves it. Now, I would have a strong feeling that if this Commissioner's Court did not decide to pass that I think that probably in January something like it happen. But my point is, just because we necessarily want to do something, or the district court judges want to do something, does not in and of itself mean it's going to happen. But I can tell you that there are plenty of us that have done court appointments that are now about to be judges in January, and are ever presently aware that those rates have they've never changed since I was doing court appointments, and they've probably never changed
No,
since you were.
I get the extra
Yeah.
$50 to speak Spanish.
Oh, it must be nice.
Are either of you concerned? Because I know you do. Both of y'all have done, and you're going to continue to do appointments in state court. Are either of y'all concerned about the Paxton opinion that came down and how that
Yeah.
might affect, the ability, if you are able to, let's say, put forth a proposal that, even though the Democrats have now a majority in the commissioner's court,
Yeah.
I mean, does that Paxton decision give some credence to,
That they're
Maybe we
screwing
don't-
the poor
maybe we don't need to give a pay raise?
and the poor and the needy?
But so the Paxton opinion, if I remember correctly, basically said that the special prosecutors can't get paid more than a defense attorney would get if likewise appointed to a case in Collin County. Correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I will tell you from my vantage point as a criminal county court at law judge, I don't think that's going to be as much of an issue for me. What I can see it happening is on these serious felony cases, somebody's going to have to spend how much time in because there's so much discovery, or there's so much stuff going on that it could start being an issue.
Are you going to be granting things like experts and misdemeanors and such? I mean, we're not going to be granting experts willy-nilly. Okay, we get this. But are investigator fees and such?
I can tell you that if somebody brings a proper motion, I think the circumstances warrant it, then I can't say yes or no. But
Well, of course.
I think that.
But is that going to be something that's actually done here in Harris County now?
Well, so between you and I, sometimes us as defense attorneys don't follow this. And sometimes it's
Sure.
because we know it doesn't have a snowball's chance, but at the same time, sometimes we just don't do it. So I think that on some level, without trying to shift the blame, and I'm not trying to do that at all, we got to start asking for it, right? So if you're watching and you have a situation that you think that needs to be done, take it to the court and address that.
I mean, I hear you about that. You can put a lot of the onus on defense lawyers for not asking. But I do think, and a lot of the reason I think, I don't know how to say this the right way.
They haven't asked because they knew it would be denied?
Well, no, but I mean, in the past, I feel like, and that's why I just jumped right into doing appointments in federal court and never even tried to do them in state court, was because, nobody gave me crap about taking a case to trial. Nobody cut my bills on a federal case when I asked for an investigator, or I, spent so many hours reviewing
Discovery.
terabytes of discovery on a white collar case that I was appointed on a healthcare fraud case or something like that, where there's reams of documents. They didn't get mad at me. you know, they said, thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this. We know this is hard work. And I saw colleagues of mine, good friends of mine, who would be chastised by district and county court judges in the past. Of why can't you move this case? Why can't you get this case pled? And not, thank you for taking this. Thank you for making sure that this person's rights are protected and this person has adequate counsel and doing what needs to be done. And if this person wants their day in court, by golly, we're going to do our best to give them their day in court. And that includes you being a proper defense lawyer. I never heard that once.
So I don't know 100% why that happens a lot more over at the CJC, or I guess the different courtrooms right now. I can tell you that that's something that I've dealt with, and I know on the county criminal court at law vouchers, there's like this pay range for out-of-court hours. It's rare I ever get paid anything other than the very bottom of that range, which is
25.
Absolutely maddening.
I think it's 25 bucks, or is it? No, I think it's 50 an hour.
It's 25 to 50.
Yeah, 25 to 50. Right. I always get the 20.
And I could tell you that most of my vouchers I've ever put out-of-court time, I get the bottom of that. Which kind of drives me crazy. I used to wait tables in law school, and sometimes I'd make more than 25 bucks
but you got a budget, man.
But at the same time...
And the county auditor is going to come after your ass if you're paying these things out.
So let me finish my point, young man. He's bad at that. At the end of the day, I think having, at least myself and some of the other soon-to-be judges, having the perspective of what it actually takes to adequately defend somebody will hopefully trickle down to some effect, right? Some of our judges in the past, not necessarily the ones that aren't in this last cycle, but even in the past prior to that, either were career prosecutors, some of them were just defense attorneys, but who knows if they did appointments or things like that. So I think that at least from my court or some of the other ones that are defense attorneys, I think at least hopefully when we look at JV's voucher asking for this out-of-court time or something like that, that hopefully we can put on, not necessarily a defense attorney glasses, but at least a perspective of like, you know what, there's stuff that has to be done to make sure that the people that come before our court get a fair shake. And if it takes a little bit of extra stuff out of my budget because Joe Q. Citizen needed to make sure that he didn't get rolled by the system, I'm fine with that. Okay.
What about trials, man? You gonna be a trial courtroom?
I hope. The problem that we have right now is our physical plan is terrible. And even though we have found a way to have trials, I get 1 week a month.
Yep.
Roughly. I mean, there's a scenario in which it could work out sooner than that, but the way they have it almost in this impact style is, it's my understanding from talking to my predecessor that I get essentially 1 week a month in which I can try cases.
How's she handling it?
She's been very respectful. She has been nothing but gracious and told me if I need anything to let her know. She's
always been such a class act.
She's
always.
She's been pretty awesome. And you know, it's one of those things, I met with her. I wanted to give time because I didn't want to call her up the day after the election and look inappropriate, but I definitely wanted to meet with her and talk to her because she knows her docket. She's been handling that docket for 20 years, and she knows where the potential landmines were, and I don't think it would be responsible or prudent for me to show up on day one and just, you know...
That's not like you, though.
Try to fly the airplane without, you know, any manuals.
Yeah, but it's not like you're going to be flying that airplane blind. I mean, not even close. You know how the docket runs. You know how to manage the cases. You know how to work. You know how to get not guilties. You know how to try a case.
But you know, I've never done that job before, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's funny because every time I try a case, even if it's not in a sense of the word serious, even though they're all serious, but let's assume I'm trying a lower end of what I've tried in the past, and I've tried a couple. Still get really nervous before the jury comes in. I still feel like I have to, you know, use a little boy's room at least 10 times, even if I just went. I mean, there's those things where you're waiting on a jury and you're still like racking your brain about what else could I have done. So even if you've been there, I think it's a little bit of nervousness is healthy to some degree. Okay, obviously.
What have you heard some of these judges doing as they leave the bench? I heard Carahan's going to work for OG.
No.
That's not true.
I heard. That's what I heard.
He's
He's gonna be a district court chief.
I would tell you that
I can assure you he's not.
how you paid attention to Facebook.
I mean,
Read Facebook.
Hey, that's what I heard, man. That's what I heard.
you need to go to other sources. I mean, like go talk to Judge Kieran himself.
I heard this.
That would be the best thing to do.
I heard there's gonna be a big contender against Og.
He told me last night.
I heard there's gonna be a real big contender.
Okay. So I asked him. I saw him at an event last night.
So see, here's somebody who actually talked to him last night.
He said that
Since I talked to him a couple weeks ago, let's see the last night precious.
If you read his Facebook post from I think Monday night, that'll probably give you a more clear understanding of what his plans are. What all their plans are, I don't know. A lot of them have a lot of time. A lot of them have families and kids and grandkids and stuff that I'm sure they're going to want to spend a lot more time with, and they've earned it. Okay.
Look, if Carahan was a district court chief, he'd be good.
Well, maybe that's a
great.
conversation you need to have with Jay Carahan.
Yeah, I think it is. Like I've had a couple weeks ago, and like he had last night. Maybe you should go.
Just putting it out there, Jay. Just putting it out there.
Let's talk about people with too much time on their hands, particularly on Friday nights. I want to put up some of my artwork here.
Okay, let's do it.
Can we throw up the first picture? Because one fine Friday night, you posted, I think it was your newest frequent courthouse visitor badge.
I have it somewhere.
This was of course there it is.
Yeah. Well, that's not the
badge. That's my.
It says modified.
That's my. That's my post Photoshop Friday night workings. And which I posted on your
You
Facebook
have to
page.
read but didn't he have a note?
I did. I wrote a Civil War style note on.
You wrote that?
I did.
That
was
so
an
good.
original.
That was so good, man.
That was an original.
We have to read it. Somebody call in.
Do you have the note?
I can find the note.
Find the note, man.
I feel like the amount of effort you put into that, while I can appreciate and respect it, I feel like you should have been watching your children that evening.
Oh, no.
Well, one of them was asleep.
Okay.
And the other one was far content playing his video game.
Video games. Well, can't blame him on a Friday night.
So, I mean,
how long was it at the moment? At that point?
It was probably mid-chest.
Is that a year? 2 years?
That was from March 20th, 2017 until November 14th of 2018.
God, that's so good.
About a year and a half, and then the hair was.
Look straightforward.
The hair was a year longer than that.
Dude, hey man, you've lost some weight, bro.
I've gained weight.
Really?
I've probably gained 20 pounds because of selection.
God, maybe just the goat's just so big, dude.
I have not been running as much. I've got a marathon in about a month that is going to be problematic because my level of training is not where it should be. And then I've got a marathon a month after that. It should be even worse and all.
How many marathons have you ran?
I've ran 12.
12?
12.
Fools?
12 fulls. Probably about 50 halves. I'm not certain on the halves.
You ran a marathon with that?
I did.
rig?
I ran Houston last year, and I ran New York in November of. Was it 17? Yeah, I ran New York November 17.
Have you ever put a rubber band in your beard?
I braided it a couple times, yeah. Aborted at a UT game because we weren't playing as well as I was hoping.
Do you have the other pic of him at the UT game?
So this was the Texas
Speed that
Oklahoma,
up,
and I'm
man.
still trying to, because Facebook has terrible search functions for trying to find posts, particularly in their iOS
the day of
feature.
the win.
So this was the second artwork. That was the
so
Texas
good,
Oklahoma.
dude.
And I will tell you, I think I also wrote a something on that too.
You led all of us into battle that night.
I've had a
Yes, you
couple.
did.
I've had a couple friends that are defense attorneys.
For those of y'all who didn't know, I modeled that off of Mel Gibson and Braveheart.
Yes, they will never. Yes, that is so good.
I have had a couple friends that are defense attorneys mention that they're going to try to find a way to incorporate that into voir dire.
That picture?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to take that.
Do you have any idea?
These lawyers who do this, they need to properly credit me. They do really. Did you tell
Not
them?
that picture, just the source picture.
Oh, the source picture.
The source
Well-
picture.
Oh.
But
Okay.
if they do look, if it is used in that altered form, or as you would call it, improved form,
Yes.
I will make sure that you get the credit.
Highly improved form.
Was that what game was that?
That was Texas
Texas
OU.
We won, was it 35-38?
48-45.
Such a good game.
It was until
Second time
last
around.
weekend.
Yeah,
was
the
not-
second time
not
around
as
was not as good.
They get good effort.
Yeah.
Man, so I just this is terrible. I cannot find. Maybe Facebook removed it from your wall. I don't know.
I hope not.
Spies, bro.
This would be terrible if
Hey,
that happened.
so from it's my understanding, the deal now that you have like special security or something, you got like a bat line.
I don't know. Maybe.
I think y'all got a bat line. You have some sort of like secret line.
I mean, I'm not really super concerned about that. I don't think I stick out that much, but I understand that there have been incidents.
Andrew said he don't stick out much.
Did you just see the photos we put up?
Well, I've got a haircut.
Andrew blends in.
Look. So I have become aware of every now and then there are certain incidents that happen. Look, there are highly qualified individuals that deal with those. Do I have a bat line? Maybe there is one. I haven't been given a red phone yet.
All right, second
but
question. Second question.
Hopefully I'll have that information.
Yeah, have you had your robe measured?
No. So we go to all of us new judges, not only Harris County but all across the state, are going to. Some people like to call it baby judge school. I prefer
Don't call it baby
new
judge
judge
school. Ain't no
school.
baby judge
I
school.
prefer to call it new
It's
judge
judge
school,
school.
but that's Sunday in Austin to Thursday in Austin.
I hear. Do they do the districts and the misdemeanors and counties at the same time?
So it's my understanding and not even just that, it's also appeals court because
It's gonna be such a fun time.
I practice every now and then in front of Judge Slaughter that's, taking
Galvin.
CCA spots. She's currently a judge. She mentioned to me that she'll be there, so I'll run into her. I didn't realize that the appellate judges do it as well, and she's already a judge, so you would think she would need to go, but apparently they're it's kind of when you go to those CLEs that like Rusty Duncan has it,
Yeah.
and Advanced Crim Law has it, where there are different tracks. It's my understanding that at a certain point you break out into a different track depending on what you're there for.
That's fun.
I have a request for your robe.
Yes, sir.
So have you seen Judge Susan Brown's Aggie robe?
No.
Whoa.
Is it maroon?
No, but the cuffs are maroon, and it has the A&M on it.
So look,
come on, bro.
I think you should go ask her where she got it made, so that you can have one made.
I have the
with burnt orange.
information of a person that does choir robes and judge robes. I have every intention of visiting with that person to see if they can come up with a burnt orange robe.
I think you should. I mean, I feel like this is an opportunity, much like when they place the little flyer on your door asking to come around and paint on the curb, the Longhorn symbol or whatever the other symbol. I don't know why you would want another one, but I feel like this is an opportunity.
Those conversations will be had, and I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Hey, okay. So who you bunking with?
So right now, I guess, I don't think it'll change, is Court 8, which is Franklin Minor.
Yeah,
This should be
man.
interesting.
I can't wait. I'm gonna go. We're gonna be in the back hallway, right? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna just knock on the door and I'm gonna open the door, and it's gonna be you on the couch
Do you really want to tell people this? on
and
the air?
Franklin sitting over there,
There's not a couch in that office.
and I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna say, "Hey, Franklin, Andrew,
There's not a couch.
how awesome is that, man?"
There's not a couch in that office, and as we discussed earlier, I'm not lugging my couch from my office currently there. I ain't going upstairs with any couch.
You're gonna put some taxidermy in it. We talked about it.
I wouldn't
I
haul
will.
anything in that building.
I
though,
will probably put some taxidermy in there that I've acquired over the years.
Quail lamp.
No, I don't have a quail lamp. I've got some other stuff. I
I saw you shot a deer last week.
after this weekend, I will hopefully have a new rack there in there.
You shot a little doe.
No, it was it was not a little doe. It was
There's a little doe, right?
It was probably about a 5 to 7 year old buck. Unfortunately, he only had 6 horns, but the tines that he had were pretty thick. It was pretty mature set anyway.
Yeah, he had a real thick neck.
What were you shooting?
I shot a 308
Perfect.
suppressed.
Good choice.
Nice.
Good
with
choice.
with a Leopold Mark IV. It's my favorite.
Whereabouts?
Good setup.
I went with a friend it was what county? It was Gonzales County, near Smiley, Texas. So you basically go down 59 to Victoria and go north.
Sure.
So it was fun. It was a good time. I did not, because of that trip that was already scheduled for about a month and a half, I did not go to Dallas to watch our horns in the Big 12 Championship.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm the one that jinxed us, but will tell you that I was very excited after the first quarter, and then my enthusiasm kind of started to waver after that.
Who's going to Louisiana?
I got my tickets coming.
You got them, bro.
I've
Yep.
got mine coming as well.
This man has the most phenomenal tickets to UT games, man.
His are probably
This
better
man.
than mine, but I did get an email from the school that I'm getting them. I don't know how many they're going to give me. Hopefully they're sending me all 4 that I requested.
Yeah.
My pledge brother from college lives in New Orleans, so hoping that I can go meet it with him and his son.
So I'm going to play the optimist here. I think we can win.
I think we got a good shot. Like, look, here's the end of the day. Of the defenses in the Big 12, we probably have one of the better ones, right? But is that going to stack up with UGA's ground game? That's the only kind of.
You know, they have Evander Holyfield's son.
They do.
That's just it's brutal.
Well,
I don't think he hits quite as hard as his dad, though.
damn, that sucks.
Well, we're not going to have a chance to bite his ear off.
Well, yeah,
The helmet on.
yeah.
It's New Year's Day.
It is New Year's. It's
That's
New Year's
the
Day.
first day of your career. That's the first day of your career as a judge.
You get sworn in that day. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out the mechanics of attending that game.
So, I mean, don't y'all get sworn in at midnight?
No, there's
There's an actual formal ceremony.
there
like, at
is
some point
a
in the day?
county. There's a county thing that we can go to if we want to. There's also
An invocation, though.
There's also a way we can do it privately if we decide to do that more as a family affair. There's some oaths that we have to commit to. I think that can be done in front of a notary is what my understanding is. I got to talk to the people at the county. The county thing I think is at like noon or 1. It's not like the DA. So it's my understanding the DA's office is the one that does midnight because they have 24-hour operations, right? So I don't believe that's something I'm going to have to do. We still have hearing officers that run the round-the-clock
Yeah,
operations.
you really don't have to show up for work till January 2nd.
Right.
Theoretically.
Right.
Wait, can you claim the day though? You can claim the day off.
You know, I don't know how the days off
You get sick
work.
days.
I believe
I'm going
there's
to predict
something
that
like
he is not going to sleep between the game and making your first day. at
I
work.
got to figure out the mechanics of that. So
The game starts at 7:45.
I'm aware. I still got to.
You got plenty of time to get there. It's getting back.
I still got to
I'll
find
meet
somebody.
you in Louisiana,
Still
bro.
got to find somebody to watch the dogs and watch the house. So that's number 1 priority. And then if we can get that ironed out, then we'll figure out the other finer details.
You need to like rent a G5, and that way you just go in and go out.
I'm
same
about to be
night.
on a county salary. I don't
Yeah.
really think a G5.
Benefits, bro.
Yeah.
Benefits.
I don't think there's a county G5.
All rise. Honorable Andrew Wright now presiding.
I don't think there's.
How's that make you feel, man?
It's terrifying to some
Right?
degree.
Okay, so that's where I was coming at, man.
Yeah.
How scary is that to dude? Because you and I have talked about it, and we've planned, and it almost feels like this wave, man, was a ground movement that has been going on for years.
So it's like you hear that. What was that old Spider-Man quote? With great power comes great responsibility.
Yep.
There's a lot of that wrapped in there, right? Like so, but it's also one of the reasons I did this, right? So right now I go to court one morning and I've got 1 or 2, a couple cases on my docket, and I'm fighting for that person to try to get the right result that I can for them, right? I've got to go into it. I got to shed that defense attorney mentality and then actually take it on that I'm not just worried about defendants. I'm making sure that the whole system in itself hopefully reaches the right result. And what that result is depends on each case, right? But there's a significant kind of fear factor that like you don't want to do something that's going to drastically alter somebody's life to a negative thing. But there's also hope and let's hope we get there, that maybe something you can do will hopefully alter somebody's life for the good, right? I'm going to be super psyched the first time we have a youthful offender that I've heard of people going back and visiting with judges and giving them positive reports even once they're out of the court system, and I hope we can get some of that. Cause,
Did you ever see yourself as a judge?
No.
I saw you as a judge.
I really enjoyed being a defense attorney. I really do. I like working for myself.
Well, now you're not working. You're not working for yourself at all now.
No, in fact,
Good luck, bro.
one of the things that I need to try to figure out is I'd like to get. I had a friend that does woodworking. I'm trying to get him to do a sign that says this bench belongs to the citizens of Harris County, because at the end of the day, it's not my bench. It's all of our benches. There's 4.7 million citizens in Harris County, and that bench belongs to them. I'm just a steward of that seat for the next 4 years or longer, if lucky enough to get there.
You know, man, you've changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the good, though, man. I see you, man. You've never looked stronger.
I appreciate it.
I mean, and with going back on what Jimmy was saying, the Democrats put together a ticket that had some toughness, some strength.
I agree.
But it had people who cared.
Right.
You know, that's what I think is the difference that helped this time, because, you know, they can talk about straight ticket voting, and I do think having Beto, you know,
sure.
that obviously helped. But I think the real big thing that helped truly carry it across the finish line in Harris County was the fact that you had a bunch of people who actually cared, not just, like I said, people who wanted to just have their name on the ballot for having their name on the ballot kind of thing. You know, you had people who actually wanted to, like Andrew, go out and change the system, who ran because of that, not because of some other kind of self-interest.
Not the paycheck.
Well, no, I mean, and that's what I'm saying is there's a lot of people who are giving up their private practices to do this for the betterment of the county, and they're really doing a civic service here.
Some of it kind of reminds me. Remember when the PD's office was established, maybe 2010, 2011? There were some really powerful and really successful lawyers that gave up really lucrative practices, and you know what? Most of them are still there.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like if those people took that plunge and they're still there and they're still feeling like they're helping the system, I think that hopefully I can do something to help the system as well.
Yeah, you talked about roles. I mean, that's the key, right? I mean, just because you were somebody was once a prosecutor or once a defense lawyer or a judge, I mean, we all have a role to play in this thing, you know, and it's a job. It's a job, and you do your job. I mean, like you said, you have to shed the defense lawyer hat, and you now have to become the job you have now.
Right.
And you know I admire all of you.
Thank you.
For answering the call to public service, because again, it wasn't a selfish move by anybody. I mean, we've had a lot of candidates come through, and not a single one of them can I honestly look at everybody and say, yeah, that person or this person, they were self-interested in doing this. I mean, everybody who came on our show had a genuine desire to effectuate change. And it's no different with you either. I mean,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm optimistic in that regard, but I go back to I'm optimistic with caution.
I get it. It's unknown.
Because like you said, it's essentially we're trying to turn an aircraft carrier here.
Right.
And I think there is something to the argument that if it gets too tough, maybe it's just going to be easy to kind of slide back into the way we've been doing some things because it's comfortable, it's easy.
Right.
And hey, let's until we have more time to figure something out. I mean, everybody can always come up with an excuse. So I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic to see what we can actually accomplish. I mean, it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't help the fact that we've got crappy court conditions right now.
And all that.
You think you got the skin to be a judge, Andrew?
I mean, yeah, that's why I'm here, right?
He's got the haircut now.
Damn! Hook him! Hook him!
Hook 'em.
He's got the haircut now.
We got
that's the most important thing.
We got the haircut.
I think I'm going to be interested to see how everybody runs their courtroom. I really am. I think that's going to be the big thing that I want to see, not just from you, from everybody else, and see if these plans that everybody's been talking about, with especially we're getting a new district clerk too. So what's the implementation of paperless going to be? I mean, there's a lot of stuff I want to see, but we're getting the signal to wrap now.
Oh, we are. Oh.
Man, we're out of time.
Well, gentlemen,
Sorry,
apparently we talk too much. 3 lawyers, who would imagine that?
Who would imagine that?
Godspeed, Andrew, right?
Thank you, brother.
Good luck, my friend. Don't forget us after you put the robe on.
I expect y'all to keep me accountable, and if
we're going to bring you back on the show.
You changed, bro. You changed, man.
hopefully for the better.
That's all the time we have for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week with another edition on Reasonable Doubt right here. Again, go hit us up on Facebook. Go hit us up on Twitter. For Andrew A. Wright and my co-host, Julio Vela. Good night, everyone.